On January 3, 2026, the United States launches what it described as a large-scale strike inside Venezuela, aimed explosion and military activities in Caracas. President Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were detained and flown out of the country. According to official statements, the U.S. forces captured Maduro during the operation. He was subsequently flown to the United States of America, and Maduro is now in federal custody in New York facing criminal charges. This is one of the most unprecedented actions by the U.S. government in decades, bringing a sitting head of state to trial abroad. Maduro wasn't just targeted overnight. The U.S. has been one accusing him of leading criminal network, including alleged drug trafficking and the narco-terrorism, issuing a 50 million US dollar bounty for his capture, charging him in U.S. court on serious federal counts. U.S. officials assist these charges are tied to number one, narco-terrorist conspiracies, cocaine importation into the United States, and weapon and related crime. Experts say this marked a legal and diplomatic shockwave, but critics call it a violation of international law. What is the U.S. position on this matter? As President Donald Trump hailed the operation as a success and suggested the U.S. may temporarily run Venezuela and the focus on its oil resources, while Venezuelan government resources says that the Venezuelan Supreme Court had elevated Vice President Desi Rodriguez to act as the Vice President, acting president, or the Vice President to become the acting president in Venezuela, though she insisted Maduro remain the legitimate leader of Venezuela. While the international outcry, countries like China and North Korea condemned the action as a violation of sovereignty, while some U.S. allies and lawmakers have raised legal concern about the capture of elected presidents or a country's sovereignty interference in their internal affairs. This isn't just a Venezuelan story. It is a global constitutional and diplomatic crisis. If this is your first time of coming to my station, please do us a favor, like, subscribe, and share as we dive deep into this matter. What experts are debating all over the world about this arrest which the America carried out in Venezuela capital that lead to the arrest of Venezuelan President Maduro. Was this operation legal under international law? This is a very big question that needs an answer. Many argue that capturing a head of state without United Nations approval violates established norms. Can the US stand a fair trial? That's another big question. Maduro is expected to appear in court in New York, where he will face U.S. federal justice. Is this a political act or a law enforcement action? The involvement of military forces or force mixed with criminal charges raises profound ethnic issues. Countries like China and North Korea have condemned the action, while some European nation presidents and governments have also called for the release of the Venezuelan leader. So this isn't just political theater. Venezuela already suffered deep economic collapse and the mass migration before this event. Now, with leadership in unhavel, ordinary Venezuela faces even greater uncertainty, not knowing what the following day will bring in their street and what the economy will look like. Regional neighbors worried about escalation and the instabilities across Latin America. The stakes go far beyond Caracas or Washington. U.S. legal proceeding. Here what to watch in the coming week. Will Maduro face trial? Can he mount a defense to defend himself about all these charges that the American government have bring about him? And this is not just Venezuela alone, as Donald Trump has enforced this power to unseat a elected president in a country. This call for a serious concern to other nations, especially the third world countries in Africa and other places. And when you look at the economy of the Venezuela, Venezuela is one of the oil leading country in the world, but the economy is very, very low. There's a lot of poverty. Inflation is on a high scale, unemployment, mass exodus of people from Venezuela to other countries, especially to America, quest for greener pasture, and the other serious crime that has been committed into Venezuela, which the past administrations in the United States could not be able to handle. But when you listen to what the Secretary of State of America said when he was making a press release, he said that Donald Trump is a man when he said that he will do something, that he will do it, not like his predecessor who has been making only promises without fulfilling it. That Donald Trump, once he said he will do it, starting from the immigration issue, the first day he entered into office, he carried out. It is not today that they have been issuing a threat against Venezuela, and they do it, they say it, and they carry it out. Just as he also said that he will come to Nigeria, and he also visit Nigeria and promise what he promised, he normally fulfill it. So what is the Venezuela future as this thing happen? Let's go deep and understand. Can Decade Rodriguez maintain governance in Venezuela? Will election be pursued and supported by the international community? But the global diplomacy is also played in this kind of issue. How will the United Nations respond? Or how did they respond? Have they even respond to this? Without approval of a country to go and unseat another president in another country, did the United Nations approve it? Can this be resolved peacefully, or will it escalate? But when we allow this thing to happen, other nation is eventually going to rise up against other nation. When a little issue arises, the more powerful one will rise up against the low powerful one. So what is your thought on it? This is not the end. It is just a turning point, a beginning to see more things to come as this thing called democracy continue to deteriorate all over the world. So what happened in Venezuela is not just another headline. It is a moment that could change international law, geopolitics, and the future of sovereignty nation. Did the United States do the right thing, or did it cross a dangerous line? Let me see your comment at the comment section so we can able to see what this thing will bring, especially to those who are living in an African nation where democracy is nothing to write home about, where the common masses cannot be able to derive joy in the street without knowing where their next meal will come from. What is your opinion and what is your thought about this? Will they release him? Will they continue to control the government of Venezuela, or will this continue to happen? Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video. God bless you.
It was dark and it was deadly, but captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice.
For more than a decade, Nicolás Maduro had ruled over Venezuela. He had overseen an authoritarian regime. Just over a year ago, he claimed victory in highly disputed elections. In recent months, his forces had been on high alert, a response to the ramping up of pressure from the US. That pressure took the form of a massive build-up of forces in the Caribbean. The US had always insisted it was about combating drug smuggling, but few thought that was credible. And yesterday it was confirmed. Their aim was regime change.
We demand the immediate liberation of President Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, the only president of Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro.
But that will not happen. The US says Nicolás Maduro and his wife will face federal charges in New York, where they arrived yesterday afternoon. According to President Trump, the US is now in charge of Venezuela.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
Many people, including Nicolás Maduro, have always insisted this was about Venezuela's vast oil reserves. That view will not have been changed by this announcement.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
The war is here.
Even before the US announced its temporary takeover, there had been condemnation from many quarters. Protesters gathered outside the White House.
The people united will never be defeated!
But inside Venezuela, the shock of the night soon turned to fear for what might come